My man! Welcome to the show. How are you? Really excited as a parent and as a person of color to have our guest today. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey guys, it's Irfan. I'm really excited to introduce my next guest. His name is Jan Koch. Just a little brief introduction from my side before I turn it over to him to introduce himself. So I have been stalking Jan for about a year and a half. We talked about a year and a half ago, and he's always working on something innovative and exciting. He's a very smart guy, and I'm proud to know him. And he's working on something lately that has a very intriguing title. It's called The Uncommon Solopreneur. And he's also part of something called the Scale Fast team. So let me stop there. Jan, thank you so much for taking some time out to talk to me. You're a very busy guy, so I appreciate it even more. But tell me about how you got started and where you're at now. Let's start there, because I know that you were doing a lot of really interesting things in the digital marketing space. Talk about your background, your history, and sort of what led you to what you're doing now.
First of all, thank you so much for having me, Irfan. It's an honor to be on your show. I've been doing this online marketing stuff since 2012, 2013. So coming close to my 10-year anniversary next year. And it all started with a mental breakdown in the corporate career world. So I was working as a business consultant, was studying for a master's in IT security on the side, ended up with a 70, 80-hour work week, and didn't last 3 months into the master's before my body said, that's it, no more. Couldn't get any worse than working 80 hours. So I figured, why not switch the 40 hours for studying with building a business on the side so that I could escape that rat race eventually. Did that. After 7 months of building my side hustle, I was able to quit my job. Started out as a WordPress developer. In 2015, I ran the WP Summit for the first time. That was my first serious venture, if you will, running a virtual conference. Been doing that for a couple of years. For the past 2 years, I ran Virtual Summit Mastery, which was founded by my good friend Navid Moases. Navid is coming back. He's taken over again, and I now run The Uncommon Solopreneur, again, as a side hustle, because as you said, I'm also part of Scale Fast, which is a virtual conference, and it will also be a series of physical events in the future where we interview some of the smartest people in the startup, scale-up, VC space, going around the globe in real time in 24 hours with TV studios in multiple countries and all that jazz. So lots of moving parts here.
Absolutely amazing. There's something that you said that I think deserves a little bit more extrapolation. There's a lot of folks working in corporate America, right, that may not be happy with where they're at. Talk about I know you said you had a mental breakdown. I'm not sure if you were being sarcastic. I chuckled because
I literally went into the hospital with a burnout for 3 days. I literally couldn't walk. Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm an open book about that.
Mental health is very, very important. How long did it take you so that tells me a couple things. Number one, you're very driven. You will work yourself until you're beyond exhausted and somebody else says, hey, he's got to go to the hospital. So you spent 3 days in the hospital. What were some of the things that were going through your mind? Was it a lack of purpose or just, hey, what am I doing? Or because I think to some degree, we all go through that at different points of our lives. But tell me what that was like in detail.
It's a very, very good question. I have to preface that I live in a space in Germany where it's quite rural. So the salaries are quite low. Even when you are a business consultant, you're not making as much money. That was the reason for me. I started that master's degree on the side. It was in IT security. I think we were 12 or 13 people in that entire year of doing the masters across Europe. So I was happy to be accepted in that program. A hacker who doesn't like to fight the bad guys and envision themselves with a black hoodie all night in front of the PC doing some magic work. That was my initial motivation. And within, I want to say 6 weeks, I noticed I'm not remotely clever enough to complete the program. And I was just struggling all the time. And then it got to a point where I realized I am just chasing the money and it's not contributing to what I actually want to do. Like I was learning manual calculations of cipher sequences, of deciphering and encrypting stuff. And like, why would you ever want to do that unless you want to go into the research path and really develop your own algorithms and things like that? And I just couldn't see that for myself. And there was this misalignment of what I was doing with what I wanted to do, and combine that with an 80-hour work week in a job you're not happy in. You know that you get paid way less than what you're earning the company. And then on the other hand, you have additional load on not being clever enough, or or not seeing yourself as clever as people surrounding you, and dealing with imposter syndrome and all that stuff, which made me super hard to be around. And I'm lucky that my girlfriend back then is now my wife and the mother to a lovely daughter. So she stuck with me through that. I'm very, very blessed that she put up with me, because I just was a pain to be around. And eventually on a Friday afternoon, I was working in the office. I was blocking a meeting room because there was this massive whiteboard and I could do some calculations for the studies and things like that. I went into the office kitchen, tried to make me some lunch or some snacks, and I just threw up right then and there. I don't know how I drove home, but at 4 p.m. on that Friday, my parents took me to the hospital because I was shaking and I couldn't walk, and they didn't know what to do, frankly. And during those 2 or 3 days from Friday to Monday, I realized that there's no point in going forward with that. There was a financial commitment to the master studies with my employer, and I had to eat that, and to sink, I think it was like 8,000 euros or something into the program that just wouldn't come back. But so be it. Why sacrifice your mental health and physical health for 8,000 euros and for the pride of having a master's degree that you couldn't care less about? And yeah, frankly, that's what it was. And from the beginning of working in that job, I felt like I was being taken advantage of by my employer, and I was building his dream and my manager's dream instead of building something for myself. So I figured I am finding a way out of this situation. I'm starting to work for myself. I started my own business.
Wow, I would have, in my limited interaction with you, I wouldn't have ever dreamed that was some of the challenges that you go through, because when I see you online, you're just such a positive guy. And you sharing that about yourself probably can help someone else think, okay, if he can do it, maybe it's possible for me too to get over some of these things. The other thing that tells me is that you're not a money-driven guy. You are more of a purpose-driven guy.
I am. Don't get me wrong, I like money, but it is the point that drives me is providing stability for my family, for my daughter and my wife, taking care of them, making sure that the rest of the family is taken care of. And that comes from my wife losing both of her parents at a quite young age. Died when she was 23. So that was quite tough. And it taught me that life can be over like this, just from nothing. Won't go deeper into what happened then, but essentially it's like the saying, carpe diem, seize the day.
Yeah.
I'm not sacrificing my goals for anything. And if I have an opportunity to make another 15,000, or if I spend the next 3 months with my family, I will always take the time with my family. And everything I do in business right now, that's why I'm also so deep into email marketing, because you can automate quite a bit there and you can segment into sorts of funny things there, is driving me to the point where, okay, I have the money side taken care of and everything's fine, the business is working, but I want this freedom of choice, and I want the freedom to be with my family whenever I want.
Fascinating. Okay. Yep. I'm totally in sync with you on all of those points. I'm a father to a 3-year-old. My wife and I, it's our first child, and it's amazing when you're able to stabilize your business, you can think so much bigger and you can feel a lot more freedom. So let's talk a little bit about email marketing and the uncommon solopreneur. So I've done email marketing with varying degrees of success over the past 10 years. Right now, we run a 52-week sequence when somebody signs up for our services. They, depending on what action they took on our website, and they get, it's very conditional logic based. So they'll get a series of emails depending on their actions. I've worked with email marketers, and what I've experienced, I feel like over the past 24 or 36 months, email marketing, cold email marketing, has seen a huge resurgence. Can you talk about the reason why and what, and then go into your work specifically and how you differentiate it from some of the other offerings out there?
100%. Cold email is, I feel, overhyped because it is positioned similar to slide into DMs in social media as the best way to get your next client. And I feel that this hype around here's what you do with cold email, get your next 50 clients, comes along with this narrative of here's how you build your social media marketing agency from 0 to 50K a month in 90 days. Or here's how you build your next, I don't know, drop shipping business or something like that, where it's just a matter of riding the trend. And social media marketing agencies have been quite popular for the past 2 or 3 years. And what do you need to do as an agency owner who has no audience? You need to do cold outreach somehow. You either pick up the phone, you slide into DMs, or you send cold email. And what is the perceived sexiness, and I think the trap of cold emailing, is that there are gazillion tools who automate cold email. There are now AI tools who write your cold email for you, even scanning the LinkedIn profile of that person you're reaching out to, trying to make sense of what they posted, and then writing a custom pickup line as the first line in your cold email. And that's presented as the holy grail of client acquisition. And I think all that adds is noise to the space. And the easiest way to stand out of cold email, don't get me wrong, I do cold email quite a bit, but my approach is different in that I send maybe 10 or 15 emails a day, but I research, I vet who I reach out to, I validate the inbox beforehand, and I put 2 hours into 15 emails rather than putting 2 hours into 500 emails and throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks.
That's so important. So I'll tell you a story briefly. So back in the day when we were doing some LinkedIn campaigns, for whatever reason, I feel like there's a certain generation of marketers or business owners who, once they realize that they can reach a large amount of people, they're just excited about being able to shoot things out. And the logic is so flawed, because if you have a crappy message that's not researched and you're just, throwing spaghetti at the wall, there's going to be however many, let's say you're sending to 5,000 people, there will be 5,000 people who think you suck, literally doing damage to your brand at that point, right? So wouldn't it be better to be thoughtful, be sincere, to use an overused word, be authentic, and send out emails that actually matter, that don't just pretend to, hey, I saw you posted, I got an email the other day. I'm getting a lot of them lately because I'm posting more on LinkedIn. I'm getting a lot of them. Hey, Irfan, I see that you're doing really amazing things at Roosterly. Would you like to work with a social media agency that can promote your brand on LinkedIn or Instagram? I'm like, okay, so you clearly have no idea. You're of the belief that less is more.
Absolutely. And with the Uncommon Solopreneur right now, I focus on teaching people how to do more with their email list. So not so much cold outreach, but somebody signs up to your email newsletter. How do you convert them into a client? And it's a similar approach to cold outreach too. Like just as you said, why demonstrate that you've clearly not done the work and ruin your reputation within a second? Probably 60% of the people won't even see your email because it goes into spam straight away. But the problem is that it's so easy to do this. Like as a coach, quote, coach who's teaching this stuff, you read a book on sales, you research a mass emailing tool, then you research a lead generation tool like Apollo or something like that that sell outdated email addresses. And then you put yourself on YouTube and say, hey, this is this magic formula where I've sent 5,000 emails a day for $99 a month. And with the law of big numbers, people who see that think, well, if you send 5,000 a day, even if you send 100 a day, at some point you just have to get some clients. And that's the flawed logic that people fall trap into. And I feel for those people, because when you're starting a business, it's hard enough to start a business. And then you're also falling trap to people who claim to know it all, but they've just read a few books and then they make a quick buck off you.
So sad. Okay, let's dig into the details of what your program is like and how it's differentiated. And I'm not doing that to pitch you or to promote you. I sincerely want to know as a client with you, and they've had these other experiences where they signed up for 50 other things. Walk me through the steps and what the experience of working with you looks like.
I appreciate that. The first step is understanding that my program focuses a lot on personalization, tagging, segmenting, understanding who is signing up to your list. What I've seen, I just had a coaching call with a student before we hopped on. She was a dating coach, and she's selling offers from, let's say, $20 for your tripwire offer to get people to buy from you for the first time. And then you upsell them to a $200 offer, $2,000 coaching program. That's her signature thing. And then she's pitching a $10,000 mastermind. And you have to ascend people through the buying journey. You have to help them get comfortable and decide whether or not you are a good fit for them and helping them. And she had a 53 email automation. She had tons of details. Her lead magnets converted at 30% to 50% on the landing pages. Yet there was this disconnect from the messaging that she put out to her list, and she struggled to get sales. And what became clear on the coaching call is that there was no segmentation. So when you think about dating, you have men searching for women, you have women searching for men, you have all the non-binary genders that I won't get into. Let's stay away from topic. But you have different people on your list searching for different things, having different problems, and that's as true for any business as it can get. Like when you think about the clients you work with, they are different niches, they have different ambitions, they have different goals, different audiences. You cater your messaging. And what I help people with is fine-tuning what you send in your newsletter and in your automated sequences so that you send the right message to the right person at the right time. You cannot always throw a sales pitch at everybody in your list. You cannot always send the newsletter to everybody in your list. You should exclude cold subscribers, for example, who didn't engage with you in the last 60 or 90 days. Re-engage them so that you increase your deliverability and hit the inbox more often. And those are some of the things, including with sales psychology and guiding your subscribers through the buying journey, that I help people with.
Okay. So that brings up two questions. The first one is, and this is purely based on my experience going through a lot of failure and success. I was once told that if you've got a fan base or an email list that's engaged, you can send them emails every day. You can send them emails every week, because there used to be a belief among corporate marketers, corporate email marketers, that, you got to do a once a month email, and anything more than that, and you're going to really upset people. Is that, which school of thought are you?
I am a believer of data, and data showed me that the more emails you send, the better your results are. So I'm very much a fan of sending multiple emails a week. I've toned it down for my own email newsletter from Monday to Friday every day to just 3 emails a week. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And I saw when I increased the frequency, I saw open rates go up, I saw replies go up, I saw clicks go up. I didn't see unsubscribes go up. So people weren't annoyed about this. And one thing I'll say is when you think about all those free email inboxes, Gmail, Yahoo, Live.com from Outlook and all those things, they are really good at detecting how many people open your emails, engage with your emails. So the fewer emails you send, the more likely you are to go into promotion simply because they don't have data over the last 30 days that somebody opened your email because you didn't send any. How important can that email address be, right?
Sure.
Right? If you had something to say, you would send more often.
Right.
That's the logic that those inboxes have. And I learned that from Adrian Savage from emailsmart.com. And there's all sorts of stuff around frequency. What I like about sending multiple emails a week is that I get to test a lot. I can test different angles. And on Saturdays, I could always send, let's say, a weekly recap or a sales pitch or something like that. And then just play around with what angle on my content resonates best with my subscribers. What I will say is the Tuesday and Thursday email only goes to the hot leads, so people who engage with my emails in the last 90 days. The Saturday email only goes to the entire list. And then I have a re-engagement campaign that people enter if they didn't open for 90 days. And I ask them, hey, do you want to still be on my list or am I not relevant anymore? Because jobs change, interests change. It's good. Somebody signed up 6 months ago because of some lead magnet that was relevant for them back then. No hard feelings if it's not relevant anymore. But why should I pay for that email address being in my ConvertKit account? And why should I let it drag down my deliverability if that person doesn't get any value from me anymore?
Yep. That's such a great point, because I think myself included, in the early days of me utilizing email for marketing, I would always have this default belief that, oh no, we've got to send everything to everyone, and we have to force them to be important. I mean, gosh, if I could have printed out the email and taken it to their house and read it, probably, a little bit of the frustration that I've experienced working with email marketers. Man, I'd love to hear your feedback. I might be wrong. I might be speaking out of school, but our audience at my company, so we've got an email list of about 15,000 or so, right? And that's primarily from running an opt-in campaign, right? Collecting data and getting signups and so forth. And when we launched our nurture campaign, I contracted with an individual to create a whole set of emails, right? Like that I described before. And it was so, and our audience, again, small business owners, attorneys, dermatologists, different types of medical specialties, physicians, accountants, just think of, some of these folks, they're educated, they're sophisticated. And these email copy was like, hey, John, I hope you're doing awesome. Today, I'm going to tell you about da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da. And don't get me wrong, I love ClickFunnels. I think it's an amazing tool.
The shirt says it, yeah.
Yeah, I've got the funnel hacker thing on. But all these emails that were being developed, not just from this one particular email marketer for me, who I paid a handsome amount of money to, it's the same tone over and over again. Like, it's that same catchy, like, you don't want to miss out on this. And we're just like, gosh, please be less cheesy. And, look, there might be an audience that works for. Maybe it is the ClickFunnels crowd. No disrespect to them or ClickFunnels, but not everyone who sees that email that has that sort of, I don't even know how to describe it, that vibe, that feel of just overly salesy. And right now, okay, so let me pause on that. That was one pet peeve that I have. The other pet peeve is like when they go into, when you first hear the backstory of someone, I started with nothing and it's all over ClickFunnels, and then this happened and this happened, and then soon enough, I'm ruling the world and you can too. It's like, dude, and are you being serious right now? So it's a very long way of not only sharing with you my frustration in the folks that are writing copy who just don't get it. They know that one ClickFunnels email template and they just ring it out for all
they read all the books and just copy what Russell puts in there. Yeah.
They read all the books. And again, I think ClickFunnels is an amazing tool. They've done amazingly well. They do good work. But talk about a little bit of where email marketers are getting it wrong and why they're getting it wrong when it comes to understanding your target demographic, understanding that not everybody relates to fantastic copy with 10 exclamation points. How do we fix that? How do we have real, sincere, thoughtful, or maybe I'm just naive, but let me stop talking. Let me turn it back over to you.
You're definitely not naive, and I appreciate that very deep, very thoughtful question. One thing I'll say is that the best emails that I have written myself, I'm not a copywriter, I'm not even a native English speaker, so I'll say take everything in terms of my copywriting advice with a grain of salt. But what I know is that my best emails are the ones where I share personal stories. I am not selling hard. I am referencing that I have this coaching program, course, whatever it is that I'm promoting. I weave it into the story. And what I learned from Joshua Lysek, who's, I don't want to say a friend, but we've interviewed each other quite a while. I've bought some programs from him. He's a ghostwriter. He's also a hypnotist. And what I learned from him is that you want to write copy that sparks emotion, that makes people feel something. And when you talk about this ClickFunnels type copy, this is all either I come with a logic-based approach. Here's why my course is the best. Don't miss out. Fear of missing out. That's the second email. And then the third email is, are you serious? Why aren't only if you're serious, you will take action on this. Make them feel bad if they don't. Using kind of these dark behavior patterns, like when you see an opt-in form that says, yes, send me the lead magnet, or no, I'm not interested in growing my company. Like, what the hell? Is that how you want to be perceived in your marketing and in your branding? So what I would say to that is, yes, you need to nurture. Yes, you need to sell. Yes, you need to lead people. And you usually don't lead from a weak perspective. So you have to position yourself in a way where you can be perceived as somebody with authority, that you know what you're talking about. But you do that in a way just as you would write to a friend. That's what I commonly use. And I use AI tools to write my copy as well, and then tweak those to get ideas and angles and things. And I see nothing wrong with that. But every message that I send out to my email list, I don't write emails for others. I just advise on strategy and technical things. But every email I write myself has some form of personality injected to it. If I fail to do that, I see that in the metrics rather quickly, because they just fall flat on their faces. What a friend of mine told me, Nick Gray, exited a company called Museum Hack and is now running a newsletter for his friends. He has a picture of himself in every email. He has a very exciting lifestyle, so he always has fun pictures to do. I'm sitting here in my office most of the time. I can picture myself from this angle and then from that angle, and that's as much variety as you would get from me. Yeah. But be yourself in your emails and share. What I like to do is get people to know, like, and trust. We all have heard that before. But they need to get to know you. Like, who am I talking to you? Why should I pay attention? Then you need to build some form of relationship with them, that they get to like you and they actually want to read your emails or your content on social. Then you need to establish trust and credibility with social proofs and reviews and showing that you know what you're talking about. But then the fourth step is something called challenging the position. Like, when you go on sales calls for your more expensive services, usually your lead comes with what they think is the problem. And then you listen to them carefully, and then at some point it clicks and you realize they're focusing on the wrong thing. Like, for getting more results from your newsletters, for example, the common thing is, I just need more subscribers and then the sales will come. Well, if you can't sell to the subscribers you already have, how would that be different to new subscribers, right? Yep. So you're focusing on the wrong thing. So you challenge the situation and how people see the challenge, and then you position your offer as the right way to fix the problem.
Brilliant, brilliant. Without giving away all your secrets, can you share with us what are some tools that you recommend if somebody is interested in getting into this for the first time?
On a link in your email, and that does not let you have conditional content in your emails. So what I mean by that is with ConvertKit, I used ActiveCampaign before. Those two platforms, they let you show one paragraph to people who have a certain tag and hide that to everybody else.
Wow.
So let's say you've pitched a course or a service, you tag people who click on the sales page as seen offer ABC. And then in the next email, when you really drill down on that pitch and on that offer, you phrase the link to the sales page differently for the people who already saw it. You need to provide less context for those people, and you need to convince them and de-risk the decision-making process more for them, because you clearly didn't do a good job in the first email if they didn't buy. Whereas if somebody does not have that tag and they never saw that sales page beforehand, you need to give more context and entice them to the first click.
Fascinating. Okay, very thoughtful. What is the typical length of an engagement for a solopreneur who wants to work with you?
I have a course called Supercharge Your Email List, which you can find on Gumroad for $150. So quite affordable, self-paced. It's about 2 hours video materials. I like to keep things short and to the point rather than filling it out with fluff. I have a coaching program that's a 6-week program right now that's running for $3,000.
Okay, very cool. Excellent. And how do people get a hold of you? What's the best way? So one of the things that I'd like you to do is maybe send me an email on all. You listed a bunch of different tools and tricks and even alluded to 2 or 3 people that you worked with, which I would love to meet. If you could maybe send me an email after this so I can share it with anybody who's listening, that would be super helpful.
Yeah.
And they can.
The best way to experience my nurturing is go to jankoch.co and just put in your email address, and you get into my email sequence and see that I walk. The other way to get a hold of me if you have any questions is LinkedIn or Twitter.
Okay, brilliant. Now, we only have a few minutes left in that time. So 2023, what is going to be Jan's focus? What can we expect to see? What are some of your personal goals?
My personal goal is to get the Uncommon Solopreneur to $50,000 a month with info products. Just a side hustle, but that would be pretty epic. So I expect from me more courses around email marketing, building audiences, nurturing, being authentic in the online space. And I think that's a pretty big topic. I also talk a little bit about getting sponsors. From my experience in running virtual events, I can show you how you get sponsors for a podcast and for email newsletters and for events and things like that. But the main focus will be the email marketing and digital sales related content, and then Scale Fast as my full-time thing.
Brilliant. Jan, it is always so inspiring to talk to you, because you deliver your message in such a simple, plain-spoken, non-exaggerated way that it's just very refreshing. So certainly thank you very, very much. I hope we get to work together soon. I'm going to go to the different websites that you mentioned.
I'll send you that link with details. Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly subscribe to your newsletter, because I can't wait to see it. But gosh, thank you so much again. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. I had a blast.
All right, cool.